Inside ASD, the podcast. I'm Lisa Miller with Team ASD. Today we're talking math proficiency, and I'm here with our in-house math expert. We have Amanda Barr.
Hello, Lisa.
Welcome, Amanda. Your title is Math Curriculum Coordinator in Teaching and Learning, is that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to talk all things math proficiency. We have 3 key board goals, and one of them is math proficiency. So something new that we're doing this year is really deep diving into, but what we're doing is looking at these goals and how we're approaching meeting our board goals. And what we did was take kind of a longer list of action steps, recalibrate, and there was a lot of thought and research that went into getting that down to about 1 to 3 priority action steps for each one of our board goals. So we have 3 new priority action steps for reaching our math board goal. And I'll read that just so that everybody is aware. The goal that we're shooting for by May of 2028 is to increase the percentage of 8th grade students proficient in mathematics on the AK STAR assessment from 34.5% in May 2023 to 41.5% in May 2028. Now, how we get to that every year, we have like incremental goals to measure, are we going to get there by 2028? So these benchmarks towards achieving our goals are what we're looking at. Every board meeting, there's a different one that's explored. And in the October board meetings, this was the topic of discussion. So October 2025. Things are looking good?
Yeah.
So we're actually above target. So at this point, we were hoping to be at 38.5, and we're actually at 39.11.
Yeah. Our 8th grade students last year achieved higher than our benchmark, and so we're really excited to keep that progress going.
Yeah. So we're going to dive all into that. I want to go through each priority action step and then kind of talk about, first I'll list all of them out, and then can we go through each step and kind of talk about what is happening now to support that action step?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go into it. So these are a little lengthy, and but there's a lot to it and it's important. So I'm going to go over each one. The first one, priority action step number 1, strengthen Tier 1 instruction by ensuring consistent use of evidence-based district-approved materials and high-leverage instructional practices that support high levels of student learning in grades K-12 or K through 8 and Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, with a focus on coherent, standard-aligned instruction and conceptual understanding. Next, we have the second priority action step. Utilize a research-based MTSS fidelity framework to assess current systems to ensure timely academic interventions, identify gaps in Tier 1 through 3 implementation, and adjust practices to ensure equitable access to academic and behavioral supports to improve outcomes for all students through consistent data-informed implementation. One more. Leverage the professional learning community structure across all divisions to strengthen instruction and accelerate student learning, with a shared focus on data-driven practices that improve 8th grade math proficiency on AK STAR. Now, each one of these have different levels of implementation, and right now we're in development for each one. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So what does that look like, that like in development stage of making these steps a priority across all schools?
So we're really focused on the training and communication piece when we're in development right now. We're making sure that we're bringing in the stakeholders, including teachers and including families, and trying to bring sort of what we're doing from the district level into the schools and into the families and be really more transparent about how we're achieving our goals.
Some examples of that, what are some things that we're doing to be more transparent?
Absolutely. So we just completed our second round of implementation snapshots at the secondary level, looking at how are our curriculum materials being used in classrooms, and then also looking at kind of general best practices. What are the great things that we're seeing in our classrooms? We also will be supporting principals to do walkthroughs and give teachers some feedback using that same consistent tool so that we're all kind of speaking that same language when we're talking about what we're seeing in classrooms.
Yeah, so eliminating pockets of success and making sure what's working is being done in all
Absolutely,
schools.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's take those steps and just look at them one at a time. So the first one's focused on strengthening Tier 1 instruction, evidence-based district adopted materials, and high leverage instruction practices that support high levels of student learning in grades K through 8 in Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. So what's that looking like so far?
Yeah, so we actually have 2 separate curriculum for those 2 areas. K-8, we use iReady Classroom Mathematics, and our AGA, Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2 curriculum uses illustrative mathematics. And so we're at 2 very different places for those curriculum implementations. Our K-8 is in a year 5 implementation, so many of our teachers have been around for all 5 years of that implementation. We also have some new teachers, so it's interesting in the way we are supporting that kind of differentiation for teacher support, as well as asking them to do the same for their students. Illustrative mathematics, this is our 2nd year of implementation, so we're still kind of onboarding a lot with the AGA, learning lessons from the pilot, and trying to make sure that teachers have all of the resources they need to meet the student needs.
Yeah, so the earlier grades are kind of in the know, and then the older kids are, those teachers are still kind of getting their feet on the ground with this a little bit. How's it going?
It's so it's going really well in terms of where we would expect to be in a year 2 implementation. We have the advantage kind of seeing iReady come up and through. Many of our students that are in middle school have been in all 5 years of iReady, and seeing that routine-based program have that evidence through where the students currently are, and then looking at kind of how that comes into the next level of support. Though they are 2 different programs, they're very much aligned in terms of the philosophy and the way that students are experiencing math.
Yeah, nice. Let's go on to the second action step, which is related to multi-tiered systems of support, utilizing research-based behavior, social and emotional support. So what does that look like when you're, for math, with middle schoolers and elementary kids?
Yeah, so we kind of have 2 different models going on between elementary and secondary. So that's why this is in development, looking at how we can really align those practices. We look at, within any classroom, you're going to have students in a diverse range of needs as far as what they're ready to learn. Some students may already know a topic. Some students may really need some interventions to access that topic. So a multi-tiered system of support is just how a school is able to meet those diverse needs. They may, at elementary, there's a lot of, there's a WIN time, stands for what I need, where students are able to get support for ELA or math. We actually have one of our middle schools currently piloting something similar to try to get some of that extra intervention time specific for math for students.
Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit more about that, and what does WIN time look like at the middle school level?
So again, the difference elementary obviously is with a home teacher most of the day. And so there's a little bit more flexibility in how you're able to provide that support for students. With middle school, you're restricted. You see those students for sometimes just 45 minutes during the day. So at Begich, they're currently doing something called Level Up, which is 1 day a week, and they're able to provide some extra math time for all of their students and focused on data and looking at how they can support students to be more successful in mathematics.
Yeah, so that's 1 day a week, and it's part of the actual school schedule.
Yes, yeah, they've adjusted that time for the week.
Nice. So everybody gets some sort of WIN support, whether it's math or...
it's focused on math at Begich.
Oh, okay. And that's just one, you said it's kind of at a pilot right now?
Yeah, okay. They just implemented that.
Anything you could share more about it, or just kind of
That's just in the initial implementation. I can tell you we have other specific middle schools doing other types of interventions, including math support classes, other ways that they're meeting student needs. And so it's just looking at kind of what is the most efficient model is kind of where our next step is to see how we can meet student needs.
Yeah, and then iReady has is that iReady where it's the accelerated pathways, or is that
So that's a change that we started last year.
Okay.
With the adoption of our algebra, geometry, and algebra 2 materials.
Okay, so not iReady.
Yeah. Well, we're utilizing our iReady materials.
Okay.
So the course that was pre-algebra was aligned with the old version of Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 progression, which is less accelerated, if you will, than our current version of Algebra, Geometry,